So you've moved to the Netherlands, and you've probably had that moment. You know the one, that feeling of complete confusion about insurance. It seems like there's a policy for absolutely everything, and that list of what you should get just feels endless. Yeah, this probably sounds pretty familiar, right? In your first few weeks, it's just this barrage of advice. You must have this, you should have that, and oh, this other one is just a really good idea. It's so easy to start wondering if you're missing something huge. So let's just ask it. Is this normal? The short answer, yes. It's completely normal here, and I promise by the end of this explainer, the whole system is going to stop feeling so random and actually start to make a lot of sense. To really get your head around Dutch insurance, you only need to understand one single powerful idea that explains pretty much everything. And that idea is shared responsibility. So what does that actually mean? Well, it's the belief that certain big risks, things that could happen to any of us, are problems for the whole community to solve, not just one person. And insurance, that's just the modern tool they use to organize that way of thinking. And look, this isn't some new corporate slogan. This idea was literally forged over centuries by very real shared dangers. I mean, when a huge chunk of your country is below sea level, you learn fast that if one person's dike breaks, everybody gets wet. When your entire economy is built on ships sailing across the globe, you learn to pool the risk of storms and pirates. It's truly baked into the national DNA. All right, so let's take a super quick look at how this deep-seated idea turned into the system that we see today. It all started way back in the Middle Ages with the famous waterboards. Everyone chipped in to build the dikes and keep the land dry. Simple. Then, in the Dutch Golden Age, they applied that exact same logic to global trade to make it predictable and, profitable. And fast forward to after World War II, the modern welfare state just scaled that exact same principle up again to cover things like healthcare and unemployment. It's the same core idea, just applied to different modern risks. And this quote right here, this just nails the philosophy. Insurance in the Netherlands isn't really driven by an individual fear of disaster. It's seen as a collective tool to keep society stable, a way to make sure that when a predictable bit of bad luck happens, it doesn't spiral into a personal crisis. Okay, so with that foundation in mind, let's get practical. I'm going to break down all those insurances you keep hearing about into 3 simple, memorable tiers. This is really the core of what you need to know. Let's kick things off with Tier 1. These are the ones that you are legally 100% required to have. There's no debate, no skipping them. If you live or work in the Netherlands, this is your starting point. There are really only 2 big ones here. First is health insurance, or Zorgverzekering. You have to get this within 4 months of registering in the country. And notice, it's tied to your residency, not your job. Your boss has nothing to do with it. The second is third-party car insurance, or WA-verzekering, which is mandatory if you own a car. Simple as that. And believe me, the government is serious about this. If you don't sort out your health insurance in time, you'll eventually get a warning letter, and then a fine. Right now, that fine's set to be €529.74. They will then just sign you up for a policy themselves and take the premium right out of your salary. The takeaway here is you really can't avoid this. Okay, let's move on to the next tier. These insurances aren't required by law, but they are so common and just ingrained in daily life that not having them can cause some real headaches. This phrase just captures it perfectly. No police officer is going to ask to see these policies, but your landlord, your neighbor, even your friends might be really surprised if you told them you didn't have them. It's a powerful social expectation. So the big one here is personal liability insurance. This covers you if you accidentally break someone else's stuff, like say you spill a drink on a friend's laptop or your kid kicks a soccer ball through a neighbor's window. It's super common and actually pretty cheap. Then you have home contents and building insurances, which are often required by landlords or mortgage lenders anyway. Not having these isn't illegal, but it just creates friction when things go wrong. And now for our final category. This one is all about protecting your long-term financial health from major life events. And this is a really important point. While most newcomers are busy focusing on the mandatory stuff, this is the area where a lack of planning can have really serious consequences, especially if you happen to be self-employed. So what are we talking about here? Well, if you're an employee, things like unemployment and some disability coverage are handled automatically through your payroll taxes. But for freelancers, the ZZ peers, disability insurance is absolutely critical. Without it, a serious illness could mean your income just drops to zero. And of course, there's the pension system, which is a whole other topic, but it's a key part of your long-term financial future here. Okay, so we've covered the what, but now it's time for the why. This is the part that will hopefully give you that aha moment where the whole system finally clicks into place. It's all about understanding the simple mental model behind it all. You see, when they're faced with a potential problem, most Dutch people are subconsciously asking themselves these three questions. One, is this risk predictable? We know some bikes will get stolen, some windows will get broken. Two, would other people suffer if I couldn't pay for the damage myself? And three, can we solve this problem cheaply and efficiently if we all just pull our money together? And if the answer to those questions is yes, well, then it just makes sense for it to become an insurance product. This is why things that might cause a huge personal financial crisis in other countries, a massive dental bill, a bike accident that causes an injury, or a long-term illness, are managed by the system here. It's designed to absorb those shocks. So, to wrap all this up, let's talk about the mindset shift that can make this whole system feel natural instead of like a burden. See, in a lot of countries, choosing not to have insurance might be seen as a sign of being self-reliant or independent. Here, it's viewed very, very differently. Being uninsured is often seen as you basically saying that if something goes wrong, you expect the community, your neighbors, the healthcare system, the government to pick up the tab. You're exporting your personal risk onto everyone else. And this, right here, is a key takeaway. If you can start to see the Dutch insurance system not as a series of bureaucratic hoops to jump through, but as a form of social infrastructure, just like the dikes, the roads, and the trains, then the logic behind it all becomes crystal clear. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about chipping into a stable, predictable, and calm society for everyone. And when you see it that way, it all suddenly makes sense.